Hey everyone, it's Jack here, TalkNorwichCity. I hope you're all doing well. Back today for, I guess, a reflection on Sunday's game against Sunderland and a look ahead to Wednesday night's game against Huddersfield away from home. It's been a really topsy-turvy couple of weeks for Norwich City, really. I think after the win against Millwall, we started to dream and getting our hopes up, and then it was kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, I think, with that result against Sunderland. It was one of the most lacklustre displays I've seen for quite a while. Probably one of the most lacklustre since David Wagner came into the football club. Let's just touch on that Sunderland game first. Going into it, hopeful. Sunderland were just coming into it off the back of a 5-1 defeat to Stoke. I think they'd won one of their last 4. Injury crisis. I think they had sort of 7 first-team players out. So they were really up against it. And you just felt as if Norwich could get an early goal, then it was going to be really tough for Sunderland to get back in it. It actually went the other way. Sunderland got the early goal. Relatively well taken. I think there were maybe slight concerns around Angus Gunn's positioning, probably slightly harsh. I'm looking at the midfield, who were completely vacant. And Grant Hanley and Ben Gibson, who you do worry about when they're defending one-on-one. I think the games that suit them are when they're slightly more direct, slightly more aerial. I think the game against Millwall, on the whole, barring the first goal, they defended admirably. I think they're fairly good in the air. The difficulty comes when you've got players running at them one-on-one. They just didn't look comfortable throughout that whole game. And I think Sunderland could have probably scored a couple more if it was for slightly better finishing. I mean, the biggest concern was I think we had 78% of the ball and yet didn't really create anything of note. There were a couple of half chances, you could say. A poor refereeing decision to deny Sargent going through one-on-one, but I think even that is clutching at straws slightly. We simply weren't good enough. And that will concern David Wagner. Sunderland played fairly simply. They defended deep when they had to and pressed really high. And that seemingly beat us. We just couldn't break through their press at all. We were very lateral. We were flustered. I think something that maybe has been overlooked slightly, and this might be kind of, looking for reasons why we weren't good enough in that game. Sunderland's away following was huge, and I sit right next to the away fans, and I can't remember the last time, certainly in the Championship, there was a section as vocal as them. And when we went 1-0 down, it was loud, it was boisterous, and we just looked so flustered. The passing was off, McLean was flailing his arms about, Gibson was passing it out of play, Hernandez was running it out for throw-ins. There was a 10-minute spell when we were really, really shoddy. And I think we deserved to lose that. And it does raise questions going into Huddersfield, who are struggling. They're 23rd in the table. They've kind of thrown the chips on the Neil Warnock slice and hoping that something will happen. They're 6 points off from safety. I think it's odds on that they'll be going down this season, but they'll fight and they'll do Neil Warnocky things and hope that they can grind out results from now until the end of the season. On paper, Norwich should be winning this and winning it comfortably, but I think Wagner will have questions he needs to answer going into this game. None more so than Adam Ida's participation. Will he start? I can't imagine he will. The criticism of Adam Ida, I do get it. He's been here, 4 years now. He's been handed a lucrative 5-year contract, and his goal-scoring record is awful, to put it frank. I think he kind of lived off that hat-trick against Preston for a little while. He scored in the Premier League on his return. That kind of kept him going for a bit. Then he scored this season. Injuries have hampered him. I think end of the day is we don't really know what kind of striker he is. Is he a target man? Is he he's not a finisher from what we've seen at the moment. I thought the most impressive I've seen him was when he was deployed on the wing against Millwall and held the ball up really well. I think he physically looked really good that day. His touch was far better. But against Sunderland, his touch was all over the place. He lost the ball. He didn't particularly hold it up. He offered nothing really going forwards. And as soon as Josh Sargent was reintroduced to the equation, I think he looked far more dynamic, offered a lot more going forwards, still tracked back. So I think Sargent will be the man that starts against Huddersfield. bearing in mind, hopefully he's fit. The other one that I think's... I'm still not fully convinced around Marcelino Núñez. Now, that may surprise a few. There's been some wonder goals. There's been some magical moments. He's a smiley character. He's clearly a lovely bloke. I'm just not sure what he brings in those types of games. His passing was off. Defensively, he looked all over the place. He just goes missing, I think. I mean, Sarah and McLean, likewise, their passing was off. Didn't offer too much going forwards and did look vacant at some stages. But I feel like they offer more than Núñez. I think there's a really specific game when Núñez comes into the equation. Maybe a Birmingham at home when you've got a lot of the ball. They kind of stand off. They're not really pressing and they're just looking for you to break them down. I think he can be effective in those types of games. Sunderland, when they're pressing at you high, they're looking to break through the lines. I'm not so sure. I'd personally, in those types of games, Huddersfield aside, because I think that offers something different, I'd like to see Sorensen kind of push into that middle of the park. I like what he brings to the team. Going into the Huddersfield game, a big thanks to our sponsors BetMate. We've got a pot and it's free. TNC viewers can join it for free. All you've got to do is go to join a league at the bottom of the app, type in free-TNC, click view, and then simply join the league. It's specific for the Huddersfield against Norwich game. So you have to pick a 7-a-side team based off of the players that are going to be playing these games. So I'm going to play it slightly different this week. I'm going to go for the Huddersfield keeper, mainly because you get points for saves made. And I think we're going to be peppering the goalmouth. So I'm going to pick the Huddersfield goalkeeper. You then get 7 players to pick from. You can only have 6 players from one side. And I think I'm going to fill up on Norwich defenders. A handy way I like to do it, 5-game average, and then you can pick based on points. So Hanley will go in there. I'm going to also go Max Aarons. I think he'll offer a lot going forwards this week. The midfield, I'm going to stick strong with Gabriel Sara. And I'm also going to put Kenny McLean in there. He goes in. And then up front, I'm going to go with Onel Hernandez, who I think might get an assist this week. And we probably need to get... Let's go with Teemu Pukki, who I think may score this week. And then we'll fill the bench with... we can't get Angus Gunn in there. Let's fill the bench with Huddersfield players. Helic. So the joy of BetMate is, even if the team isn't playing particularly well, but you've got an individual that's shining, particularly in the midfield or defensive battles, interceptions, aerial duels, things like that, you're going to be getting points for. Goalkeepers, you're getting points for saves. So last weekend, I think the winning team had the Sunderland goalkeeper captain because he made so many saves. So that was really good. So that's my team on screen there. I'm going to captain Gabriel Sara. I'm going to vice-captain Onel Hernandez. And I'll see how that goes. So all you need to do, download the BetMate app. Links in the description. Free TNC on the Join League. Make your team. It's completely free. There's 50 quid up for grabs. Best of luck. Huddersfield. This feels like the perfect opportunity to bounce back. We're still only 2 points off the playoffs. I think over the course of now until the end of the season, you would back us to pick up more points than Millwall. However, it could be a potential banana skin. If you go to Huddersfield and you don't win and Millwall win above you, suddenly then you've got quite a tough run in. You've only picked up 1, possibly no points from Sunderland and Huddersfield. Things look difficult. I think Norwich just need to go back to basics. We know we've got some quality in this side. We know we can create chances at will. We just looked really flustered on Sunday. And I think Michael Bailey put it perfectly in his post-match kind of write-up. Never too high, never too low. I think we got a little bit carried away against Millwall. Everything clicked there. We had a wonder strike through Sarah. We had a couple of well-worked set-piece routines. Actually, for the first 20 minutes of that game, again, we looked quite flustered. There was a defensive error. We couldn't pass through the lines, and we struggled. Huddersfield, I think, will be a different opportunity. I think they'll look to sit deep. I think they'll look to hit on the counter with long balls. And I think that game kind of suits us. Warnock's been in there for a few weeks. I can't see tactical revolutions going on. I think they're just going to really try and dig in deep and grind something out. Couple of changes I'd like to see. I'd like to see Sorensen pushed up further into midfield and Nunes dropped. I'd like to see Sargent brought in for Adam Idah. And I think barring that, you keep things fairly similar. Gibson and Hanley weren't great on Sunday. I think this is the type of game where they thrive. I'm confident we win. We need to win. And you win this game and suddenly things don't look too bad. There are, of course, worries in this Norwich team. I think we will be undone against better sides, and I think that is a concern. But at this moment, this is all we can concentrate on. And hopefully, we pick up all 3 points. Let me know how you think this one's going to go down in the comments section. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on the team. What team would you be playing? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, a big thanks to BetMate. Links in the description. You get some free credit. And also, this is a free pot to enter, so it's a no-brainer to try it out. I'll see you over there. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.